Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, AEW World's End just got off BR Live. Wow, what a show. We found out Adam Cole is the devil. It looks like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, part of the Kingdom. Roddy Strong and Wardlow are all part of this devil faction. I don't hate it. It was pretty obvious in minute one. If you really kind of go back to the whole storyline, more recently you had Cole talk MJF into having giving Joe the opportunity to tag with him, and then when Joe's said, if I do this, I have to get my title shot. So you kind of knew Cole set that all up. Roddy was in on it. Kingdom, it's like it's all kind of tied together. If you think back of all the stories and stuff, you're like, oh my God, they were all kind of telling Cole that MJF's the devil. They're telling Cole that MJF's the bad guy, but yet Cole was. So I kind of like it. I'm gonna see what the dynamic, how this goes forward. But the Kingdom, Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, MJF lost both his titles in the last 3 days. So where does MJF go? What does this feud look like with MJF and Adam Cole? Having Joe get basically MJF passed out. So I can see a rematch coming up with that because MJF is like, I didn't tap, I didn't get pinned, I passed out. I like that if you're going to do that, have that kind of ending to it. Overall, I think the show was freaking awesome. It's one of the better shows. So let's start at the beginning here. We had 3 0-hour shows, matches. We had Willow Nightingale versus Kris Statlander. One of the better women's matches we've had in a while. Now, were there spots in it where Willow Nightingale botched a couple moves? Yeah. Yes, she's been around a minute. She's still green. Kris Statlander is probably one of the most talented women out there. There was a couple, Willow did a kind of like a side slam, and luckily she got Kris turned enough she didn't land on her neck, and one time she actually did at one point. So, I think with work, these two can be better. Kris Statlander is still awesome. I would like to see these two kind of team up and work together. I think we went 3.5, Willow Nightingale getting the victory there. And then we had the number 1 contender battle royal for the AEW TNT title. Now, I didn't realize till later that this was kind of like it was like you get the title shot whenever you want, kind of like a Money in the Bank type cash in. So that was actually a whole different dynamic it added to the show. So we had Killswitch, formerly known as Luchasaurus, Action Andretti, Alex Reynolds, Angelo Parker, Bryan Keith, Christopher Daniels, Dalton Castle, Danhausen, Darius Martin, Johnny TV, John Silver, Kip Saban, Lance Archer, Lee Johnson, Matt Menard, Rocky Romero, Serpentico, The Blade, The Butcher, and Trent Beretta. Came down to the final 4 of Danhausen, Lance Archer, Trent Beretta, and Killswitch. Killswitch getting the victory there. I know for me, the fact that Killswitch got the victory there, first thing I'm like, oh, Edge wins the TNT title. And this is how Christian gets it back. Didn't think that was all going to happen in the same night, but I ended up giving that 3-star. And then we had the FTW title on the line, FTW rules. I understand in ECW this was a thing that Taz came up with. I like it to the point of it kind of brings relevance to what Taz did back then. And it brings that hardcore ECW fan, well, Taz is here, Taz's son, this title, I remember this, so we put all these pieces together. For somebody like me who wasn't a ECW fan, it is what it is. FTW rules means basically no disqualification, no rope breaks, none of that. Hook getting retaining the title there, a little over 10 minutes. I ended up giving it a 3.25. Wasn't a bad little match. They did get a little hardcore, had stop signs, some trash cans and stuff, but it was kind of like, okay, for me, so. Alright, we started the show, was the 8-man All-Star Tag, the guys that were in the Continental Classic. This is a classic case of New Japan booking. Because in New Japan, you have these G1, you have the best Super Juniors, you have the tag leagues and stuff. When you have these big tournaments, typically on the finals night, you have people that were in the tournament tagged together and do like an 8, 10, 12-man tag. So for me, the booking sense of this was like, okay, this is just cutting in a class of guys. We book it like New Japan. It works, you know. So we had Blackpool Combat Club members, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, teaming with Daniel Garcia and Mark Briscoe versus Brody King, Jay Lethal, Jay White, and Roosh. Face team, heel team, sort of. Unless is the BCC heel, they face? I don't quite know either. So, you know, in that kind of mindset that I have of booking matches and stuff and looking at stuff, this was, again, just like in New Japan booking, I like this match. I thought each guy looked strong. I thought having Daniel Garcia get the pin on Jay Lethal actually made the most sense, because you don't want Roosh or Jay White or Brody King, the guys you're trying to build up, to eat a pin. You have somebody like Daniel Garcia, who has kind of been that guy where he was with Jericho, then he left, now he's with Matt Menard, but he likes to dance. Is he a sports entertainer? Is he a pro wrestler? You kind of had that little, just everything twisting with him. But having him get that pin and getting the acknowledgement from BCC, hey, you're actually pretty good, kid. I ended up giving us 3.5 with Bryan Danielson, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, and Mark Briscoe getting the victory there. Next up, we had Miro and Andrade El Idolo with CJ Parker, which is Miro's wife, as her manager. I mean, this quote love triangle, whatever. You know, I know there's talk of Andrade leaving, go back to WWE. I look at it, when wrestlers do that, they leave one company to go to another company. Fine. As long as you're putting a better spot in whatever company you're going to than you currently are, more power to you. Did I think Andrade was a top-tier wrestler in WWE? Like, yeah. The first official match that I ever said 5 stars to was Andrade and Johnny Gargano NXT title. Now, I've gone back over Manias and stuff and looked at some matches, and Taker and Shawn for one, and Benoit, Tripp, and Shawn, and that kind of stuff. And have I changed those from 4 and 3 to 5? Yes, I have. But because that match, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I would consider a 5-star match. Not this one, the one of Andrade and Johnny Gargano. So I'm happy with Andrade. We got Miro get the victory here, which we kind of expected. Looks like CJ's going to be with him. Andrade kind of got his flyers before he leaves. So we'll see if and when Andrade shows up in WWE and how they bring him at the Rumble, or how they do that. I'm not sure on contracts and stuff, but Miro got the victory here. I ended up giving this match 3.5. Next up, we had the AEW Women's World Title on line. We had champion Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm versus Riho. This to me was kind of a throwback because the 5-year anniversary of AEW is on Monday. Technically, it's Monday at midnight Pacific time. I will have my 50-year anniversary AEW show up then. Riho being the first ever AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm, her words, the best Women's Champion. The only thing that kind of, to me, made this match kind of like, took away from it was all the speculation of Mercedes Moné coming in. And everybody was expecting it after this match. At the end of this match, even I was like, is she coming? Is she coming? With us finding out talks fell off with WWE with her. Who knows? She could show up on Dynamite. She could show up at Hard to Kill. Who knows? But the one thing that I look at is, if she does show up in AEW, she can still do the New Japan stuff. If she shows up in TNA, she can still do the New Japan stuff. So the fact that forbidden door that was closed at one point has been opened between multiple different companies, I'm all for it. But Toni Storm getting the victory here. Great match. I think we had a 3-star. Just parts of it was kind of like, is this thing over yet? It was only 11 and a half minutes long too, so it was kind of weird. But next up, we had Swerve Strickland versus Dustin Rhodes, with Keith Lee being injured, not cleared. I don't know why we just didn't take this match off the card, to be honest with you. I know there were some people that think that Swerve should have won the Continental Classic or been in the finals. No, I was kind of hoping he was the devil, to be honest with you. But you know what? Swerve is pretty hot right now. I would love to see Swerve and Joe go at it. Swerve, his stuff with Keith Lee, kind of bringing that feud kind of back because they were tag team champions together. What he did with Adam Page, I wouldn't have any problem going forward with Swerve, getting in that title hunt with MJF, with Joe. Swerve is just incredible. But yeah, the first part of this match, he basically took out Dustin Rhodes on the outside. Dustin didn't give up. Finally got in the ring. Then we had a 9-minute match, and it was just Swerve taking out Dustin Rhodes the whole time. I ended up giving it 2.5. It wasn't great, to be honest with you. It was just kind of there to me. I just think it was you had to put Swerve on this card, which I get. I'm glad he was, but either we prematurely said Keith Lee could wrestle, or he got hurt somewhere in between. But we'll see where that goes. And then next up, we had the 8-man tag that had Les Sex Gods, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, teaming with Darby Allin and Sting versus Don Callis family, Konosuke Tezuka, Powerhouse Hobbs, and then the tag team champions Big Bill, Ricky Starks. I am not going to even comment on stuff on social media about Mr. Jericho. I don't have enough details on the subject to speak on it, so I'm just going to let that go. I don't have enough details on it. I know what happened in 2019. I know what the person involved in it has put on social media back then. Multiple people have retweeted, and that is her account. But hey, you know what? We'll find out more details, and then maybe something. But it is what it is at this point. We don't know anything really. Unless it's just some fan trying to start crap. Anyway, so we found out Sammy Guevara left the Don Callis family, and then we had created this match. I figured the tag titles would be on the line, but I didn't know why they haven't done that. I know they wanted Sting in these multi-man matches, kind of a couple shows left till his retirement. This match just, everybody did kind of spots, but it wasn't a lot of overall kind of, what I was expecting out of it, I guess. I ended up giving it 3.25. It was okay. With Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho getting the victory, I just kind of want to see what's next here. The Don Callis family, I know with Kyle Fletcher having the Ring of Honor TV title, Takeshita, I guess he was pretty hot there for a long time and just like fizzling out. And then we got Powerhouse Hobbs, who's kind of the modern day Mark Henry to me. I think the tag champions, absolute Ricky Starks, I think he should be one of the pillars. He should replace Jack Perry as one of the pillars in AEW. He's damn talented. I watched him in NWA for a while too. So next up, we had the AEW TBS title on the line. Champion Julia Hart versus Abaddon. This creepy chant was just freaking awesome. But yeah, this match didn't do a whole lot for me either. Julia Hart, just her being the Black Heart is kind of different because she came out initially with Brian Pillman and Griff Garrison, and now she's with the House of Black. But Abaddon just doesn't, not talented. This match was kind of flat to me. Now, if you put Julia Hart in there with somebody like Kris Statlander, a Willow Nightingale, Britt Baker, somebody like that can carry the match and make her look good, yeah, I think she'd be great. But I give this match 2.5 with Julia Hart retaining her title. And again, a lot of people were looking around oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is Mercedes Moné coming out? Yeah, so we'll see. She might come out on Dynamite, who knows, unless she is with part of TNA, or it's all Swerve and she'll show up at the Rumble, who knows. And no, I don't think she's doing both. Alright, next up, we had it. Match of the night. We had the AEW TNT Championship on the line, no disqualification. The artist formerly known as Edge, Adam Copeland, going up against Christian Cage with Mother Wayne and Nick Wayne at his side. Edge come out. Adam Copeland came out wearing his WrestleMania 22 gear. Even Taz made a comment about that's the gear he wore when he had the match against Mankind. Yeah, looked pretty sick. Had the gnarly beard and everything. This match went through the entire arena. There was one spot where they fought up the ramp, fought up the stairs, or up to kind of the backside of level 101 or whatever it was. And they were fighting down below. You see Edge disappear. He goes up. Adam Copeland, he's always been Edge. Goes up and does a dive off on top of Christian and Nick Wayne. I was really hoping that Bethwood came out to interfere with Mother Wayne, and then Jordan Oliver would have came out to interfere with Nick Wayne. I thought that would have been kind of sick if they would have done something like that, but they obviously didn't. But this match just went all over the place. I mean, you had, and of course they started bringing out chairs. They brought out ladders. We all know the TLC matches, so it was like, okay, cool. When they brought the tables out, it's like, all right, we're really doing this. Did a couple big spots off the ladders. But when they took the lighter fluid and set the table on fire, I'm like, holy crap. The fact it burned itself out once, and then the fact that Taz had to explain it. Well, when the fire actually burnt through the lighter fluid, it burned itself out. I'm like, you're somebody's going to keep the table lit. But the fact that he did it again, and I'm watching that, I'm watching Adam Copeland, I'm watching Christian, I'm like, who's taking this table spot? When Edge lit it up and Nick Wayne is standing on the ringside, I'm like, oh, Nick Wayne's taking the fire table spot. He took it. He made up and took it, which he's done stuff like that in GCW, so it wasn't like, he's never experienced that, been around that, but that's kind of new to AEW kind of thing. But I'm like, oh, damn. Then freaking Adam Copeland hits the I'm Prettier on Christian, and 1, 2, 3, and you're new AEW TNT champion Adam Copeland. Thought that was pretty sick. I'm like, okay, you know what? I know Killswitch had the number one contendership. Oh hell, he's giving it to Christian, and Christian's going to cash it in. We're gonna have a ladder match. That's the first thing I thought. And then when Killswitch comes out and opens the thing up and starts to sign it, I'm like, whoa, and they even said it. It's anytime you want a title shot. I'm like, oh snap, we're doing it here. When he give it to Christian, I'm like, oh damn, no, they can't. I've seen somebody on social say this was, oh yeah, bad booking. What do they call it? Who was it? They said that was, oh yeah, Vince Russo booking. No, it wasn't a midget masquerading in a trash can on a pole match. No, with everything they've done with this feud, it actually made sense. Because you had Christian, the father figure for Killswitch, change his name to Killswitch from Luchasaurus, and he would do whatever Christian says, and Christian whispers in his ear, and he just hands it over to him. And it's like a money to bank cash in. So it's like, if you look at it that way, it's like, okay, it kind of made sense. And then so Christian basically cashed in. 12 seconds later, spear. We have new champion, Christian Cage, 2-time TNT champion. Okay, you know what? That's cool. And I love what the announcers, where's Edge go from here? Well, guess what? He do a rematch because he's champion. Don't they get rematches for those things nowadays? So no, I think this will go continue. I do look at Beth eventually coming in and doing something, and I know AEW trademarked East West Express. East West Express is the tag team name of Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver in GCW and on the Indies. So I'm pretty confident with that Jordan Oliver's coming in eventually, which is, hey, I'm all for it. You guys will love him if you don't know who he is. He's damn hell talented. But it was like, I can see this end up being a 6-person tag match, or even, a tag team match or something. So, because if you remember, Edge had the Edge Heads, Zack Ryder, Brian Myers, or whatever his name was in WWE. But, and then you had other ones as well. So I could see them doing that, something like that again, but definitely want to see a TLC match with Edge and Christian, or Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Next up, we had the finals of the Continental Classic, the modern day United States Triple Crown. So the AEW Continental title, the Ring of Honor World title, the New Japan Strong Openweight title. So the modern day Triple Crown, I guess back in the 90s, All Japan Wrestling had the big Triple Crown. I remember seeing Ultimo Dragon. He had like 8 titles at one point. I think he had the Cruiserweight Triple Crown. I know New Japan had this New Japan Strong titles, the world title and the tag titles. They're actually doing title versus title at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP tag titles, and then in New Japan Strong openweight tag titles. So I don't know if they're trying to get rid of the New Japan Strong, or if they're just kind of tying it to other things. I like the idea of this Triple Crown. I think it's kind of neat. The fact that you had Eddie Kingston down 0-2, the next loss he was out of the tournament, got all the way to the finals against a former rival, a guy he's never beaten. Last week when Bryan Danielson beat him, he's never beat Mox. They have history. They've had feuds. They've been tag partners in AEW even. And just to have these guys go out there and give it all, 17 minutes. Oh, the Christian Cage Adam Kofa match, I give 4.5 to that. But Eddie Kingston going out there and him from minute 1 of the Continental Classic going, in All Japan Wrestling they had their Triple Crown. I'm putting my 2 titles on the line to make the modern day Triple Crown. And his just love for that kind of style and that kind of era of wrestling in Japan, All Japan Wrestling. And then having Bryan Danielson talk about that during the match as well. It's like, okay, this is kind of the respect side of it. But yeah, match-wise, you had a grappler in Mox and a striker in Kingston. The fact that Bryan Danielson's putting over what a great striker Kingston is, but obviously backing up the BCC guy about grappling, it's like, that was kind of refreshing, I guess. I mean, he weren't shitting on Eddie Kingston like a lot of people do. Even the crowd was chanting for him. You say one moment, he's just humbled one moment by that. But overall, hella great match. I thought so. One thing that I've learned over the years of watching wrestling and talking to wrestling to people and doing videos, wrestling is 90% opinion and 10% fact. The fact of the matter is, Eddie Kingston, your modern day Triple Crown, AEW Continental Champion, Ring of Honor World Champion, New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, and 10% fact. The fact is, Eddie won. The opinion is, I thought it was a 4-star match. I liked it. I can't wait to see what's next for this Triple Crown. Does Mox get another title shot? Does Danielson? Who's going to take it off? Eddie Kingston. Is there somebody that's going to come in that's going to do it? Are we going to add anything to it? Is it going to be 4 titles eventually? Will this title be something where it's defended on Ring of Honor shows, on AEW shows, and New Japan shows? So I'm excited to see what's next. But Eddie Kingston, your Triple Crown winner. Next up, main event, AEW World Title. It was a dogfight, to say the least. MJF, Samoa Joe. Joe hit a muscle buster on the apron at one point, and Max's shoulder is like, ow. It was already taped up. Max looks hurt. I don't know. It's just kind of, the crowd was so behind. They were chanting Joe when he came out, and then they were so behind MJF when he came out. The little silly vignette they had about people, he's our scumbag. It's like, okay, whatever, I mean, I've always liked MJF. I've liked MJF since 2018. Before AEW started, I knew who Maxwell Jacob Freeman was. And I talked about him then with the Pulse family, and they're like, yeah, no, he's not that. A year or so ago, dude, you're right. I'm like, I know. He's freaking awesome. I mean, but to have Joe choke him out to win the title, and Joe just leaves with the title, then the goons come out because Adam Cole was out there on one leg, having the lights go out because they're getting I think it was Wardlow has a chair. He's getting ready to hit Maxwell. Cole's like, no, hit me. Max is like, no, hit me. Don't hit him. Hit me. And they're kind of back and forth, and then the lights go out. And then when the lights come back on, Cole's sitting in the chair. All the goons standing behind him. And MJ was like, what the hell? Then they pull their mask off, and they all attack him. But yeah, I mean, so Joe's the new champion. Okay. Joe made a deal with the devil. So he had the same kind of deal. Does Cole end up with the title? Does Cole beat Eddie Kingston for the Triple Crown? The fact you have the Kingdom's Ring of Honor tag titles. Is it kind of the Ring of Honor titles, but they invaded AEW? But I give the match itself 3.5. It was obvious that it was either Cole or MJF was a double. The fact it's Cole, sometimes obvious is better than, I racked my brain. I'm like, who could it be? I like the Swerve idea. Nobody that WWE recently released is big enough, I don't think. I don't think the Dolph Ziggler's and Mustafa Ali's are big enough to be that. I wonder if it was going to be Punk at one time, but I don't know. Then it's like, I'm sitting here watching the show going, wait, Worlds? And what does that mean? Is there meaning behind that? Wait, did Tony Khan do something that the world as we know is going to end when it comes to professional wrestling? I'm like, could it still be Punk? Could he have bought? I'm just like all that. But obviously, it's Cole. I'm good with it. I like it. I want to see where it goes. I want to see next steps. I'm not hard pleased when it comes to pro wrestling, but I want to see what's next. And I like it right now. Am I going to keep liking it? Just like when the NWO, I didn't like the NWO. I was that kind of, quote, face fan. I hated the NWO until Sting joined the Red and Black, the Wolfpack. And then guess what? I became a Wolfpack fan because of Sting. So now, we'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited to see what the ratings for Dynamite are this week. I know that's a huge deal what ratings are anymore, but whatever. As long as we get good wrestling, what does it matter? As long as we have great storylines, which not every match in WWE shows have a storyline that goes back 9 months. So we don't need every match to have everything to have a storyline. You have matches that don't. You have matches that have tie-ins. You have things like the Joe tie-in. He worked with the Devil. His job was he was going to protect MJF, make sure MJF was healthy going into the pay-per-view. And then he ends up working with the Devil to take him out the 2 days before, 3 days before. So, no, this whole show was put together okay. Swerve, Dustin, that should have been left out. Other than that, good pay-per-view. Good show. I think AEW's firing really good right now. Is AEW 5 years in the same as it was 5 years ago? No, it's not. I think it's better, to be honest with you. They've showed in 5 years what they can do. The vast majority of wrestling fans wanted an alternative. We don't need a copy of WWE. We need something that's different. And they're bringing that New Japan element. We have the Triple Crown now. We had a Continental Classic. We know it's coming back next year. I would love more tournaments like that. I enjoy those kind of round-robin tournaments where it's based on points and not elimination. Those are great. The best of the Super Juniors. We have the G1, which is freaking goes in. You cash that in at Wrestle Kingdom. First video of 2024 will be the Wrestle Kingdom 18 preview for the 8th year in a row, where Naito will cash in his G1. That's the way it needs to be. So, all right, that is AEW Worlds End Review. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. It's been a fun year. Can't wait till next year. I'll get some videos due tomorrow for GCW and some NASCAR stuff, and then we'll get Wrestle Kingdom, the AEW Anniversary Show, the Showcase of the Independents, 30 independent companies they'll profile in 2020 in January 24. It's going to be fun. Next 30 days, the goal, my goals don't always work out, 150 videos. That's the goal. But we'll see what happens. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're at 304. Goal is to get to 400 by the end of 24. Thanks for watching.